Hello everyone, we're live. Welcome to the industry conversation, live on Instagram. Today we have a lot of my colleagues coming on for us to discuss the industry, and make sure you look forward to, I want you to get ready for the Nigerian Music Business Conference. We are going to announce dates very soon, but I want to say welcome to the show. And how are you doing? Is everything good on your side? Which matter you settle for your side? So yeah, welcome to the show. Today on Industry Conversation, we have 6 strong men, very, very strong industry men. And it's going to be a great evening. We're going to hear from Ayoshonaiya, founder of Chocolatecity. We're going to hear from singer, songwriter, and the Empower boss, Mr. Easy. We're going to hear from Ayoshonaiya, an entertainment lawyer. We're going to hear from Akinyemilaw, entertainment lawyer as well. We're going to hear from T-Bills, and entertainment executive. We're going to hear, then there's also the CEO of Bills Vision. We're also going to be hearing from the CEO and founder of Efizi Music Group, also manager to Akinyemilaw, Aliyu. So if you're ready, I'm ready, and let's get to work. I see Shaka L in the building. I see everyone. I see Faye in the building, Faye Fab in the building. Hi Faye, hi Shaka L. Let me just give a little bit of shout out. I see Ronke in the building. Ronke has been very, very supportive. I see Ayoshonaiya is in the building already. Akinyemi is in the building already. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see everyone. Welcome to the show. I see all of you. Welcome, welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be learning. Kolotainment, I see you. Today I'm going to be learning from people like Ayoshonaiya. If you really know Ayoshonaiya and you see him, when Ayoshonaiya is speaking, he speaks with so much of passion and wealth of knowledge. Same thing with T-Bills, same thing with Akinyemi, same thing with Aliyu, Mr. Easy as well, and then my Bitcoin lawyer, Ayoshonaiya. So yeah, welcome to the show this evening. If you're ready, I'm ready, and I'll bring on our first guest for the evening. So, yeah, let me see who we have here. Udwab, welcome to the show. Audu, welcome to the show. Lucas, welcome to the show. All right, our first guest on the show will be Akinyemi. Akinyemi is an entertainment lawyer, and he's been in the entertainment industry for some time now, and he's been doing a lot of work with artists and record labels, and I'm sure he has a lot of things that he's going to share about our topic, system structures and partnerships on the music business conversation. So let's get Akinyemi on. Akinyemi, I saw him here right now. I think my Bitcoin lawyer should come and, Audi, where are you? You should come and open the floor, pour some, appease the gods while we wait for our guest to arrive at the show.
I thought, am I supposed to be on this show now?
Audi.
I thought we were going to do this after now.
Audi, I had somebody paid you via Bitcoin and you've not given me my 10%.
Are you managing me?
Audi, that's a very strong question. but I can prove you're a lawyer. I know that you have your happy and way, but I can prove to you that 10% is meant for me. I've been asking you for 10% for how many years now?
So let me take you back to history. Should I take you back? Do you want to go there, or should we just, let me tell you, there's a Hausa proverb, right? It says, let me say, it's a Hausa proverb. It says, "Abar kaza a chicken gashin shi." Do you know what
What's
that
the meaning?
means? It
No.
means that literally leave a chicken in his feathers. Do not,
Okay.
do not, do not feather a chicken, because you see something that you don't want to see. So let's not. So
How
so
do?
let's not do that.
You cannot be a Bitcoin lawyer. You cannot be a Bitcoin lawyer and you are not giving me anything. Just 10%. See, you see, I've lived up my life on percentage. I don't want 100%. I just want give me my percentage and we're fine.
So are you? Let me ask a question. I don't mean it anyway, right?
Yeah.
But are your parents both from Calabar? Your mother is Igbo. You have Igbo something.
So I schooled in Anambra State. So I schooled in Anambra State. So my dad was a military officer and he served in a couple of Igbo states and he also served in Jos. So some of my brothers were born in Jos. And I schooled him. I went to Magna University. So I lived in Anambra for a bit.
Say no more. The truth has come out, because I just
So my mom and my dad speak Igbo. They both speak Igbo.
So it's in your blood. So that's the problem we've been having now. So all people watching this show, his name is actually Obi Franklin, not Ubi Franklin. Just know it's Obi Franklin.
You see, those are the things that made me bring up the Ubi music model, so that we can do something that will work.
The UMM.
Okay,
well,
so
have you been telling people about the music business conference? Have you?
So yeah, that's what I want you to. I want you to first of all do like a round on our guests that we have today, and then we talk about the music the music business conference that we have coming up, and then we can get on our first guest. And after the when we are done with them, you can come and close the show.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks everyone for the opportunity. We've been talking. I mean, we've been doing this series for probably a month now. It's about a month.
Yeah, more than like this is like 6th week.
This is 6th week now of this program, and I think we all agree that for the first time, the music industry, and when I say the industry, there's an industry and there's an outdustry.
Yeah.
The industry is several people working together, different parts that make things move. What we've had before is an outdustry, because some people are in, some people are out. And for the first time now, we're ready to talk about essential things around contracts, around artist labels, songwriters, engineers, sync licenses, CMOs. There's so many things that need to be discussed. So we'll be launching the Nigerian Music Business Conference very, very shortly. We're actually working on some of the details now. And you'll see I think the advert should be out by Monday or Tuesday at the very latest.
Yeah, so I posted some of the flyer coming soon. And
Okay, so that's one, and it's been amazing. We've had I was on a call on Friday with some MBA, some Nigerian young Nigerian lawyers, something like that, and it was a class of about 90 people, and I got many volunteers that want to come and help us out to put this thing together. I know that a lot of what we need is a lot of secretarial stuff, people recording information, being able to collate that. So if you want to volunteer, please DM Ubi or myself and offer yourself, and we'll be able to contact you. Now, today's panel is very exciting, and it is some really, really great people who have experience. Ubi, when we were talking during the week, you said something that people have been accusing this platform of being too anti-artist and just more focused on labels. But I think the great thing about it is that the panel that we have are people who have worked across all spheres. Mr. Easy, for example, for me, is one of the pioneer disruptors in the industry, because he's done something that many people haven't been able to do, and he's created his own lane. And that shows you that it's possible to innovate even in a place that seems to be very stagnant. So really exciting to see Mr. Easy. Mr. Easy himself owes me some money, he knows. So later on,
Bitcoin. I'll tell him to transfer as your manager.
I beg, tell him.
I'll tell him as your manager.
I beg.
So you now agree that I'm your manager.
Well, if you can make this transaction happen, you will manage that one. You're my agent. You know there's agency. You Apollo. You know what you guys do. But yeah, quickly. So that Ayoshonaiya has he's actually one of the first people. He and DJ Abbas were the first people to take our music beyond Nigeria. So as way back at 2003, 4 when them JJC and then the band and Jazzy in the early days, these were the guys who were the custodians of the culture. So he's also just finished a documentary on Nigerian music. I'm sure many of us were part of that documentary.
Yes.
Documentary. And then Akinyemilaw is one of the hottest entertainment lawyers, and I know him quite well. Brilliant guy, very passionate, and he and Udwak have something in common. They always want to educate people, and I think that's amazing about what he's been able to do. And Tai Aliu, my aburo, has done very, very well. He's been able to single-handedly build one of the biggest female artists of all time, and also developed his label, Effizi Music. So it's going to be exciting. So just sit back, enjoy yourself. I remember.
So T-Bills.
Oh, Jesus. I can't believe this, you know. I was about to, now, Obi, I've just messed me up because I was about to do drum rolls. I was going to play music for. What's wrong with you? Just messed me up.
All right, sorry.
T-Bills is the chairman of chairman. How can you do that? I think it's this Glenfiddich that you're sipping that made you interrupt my address. But seriously, T-Bills is my brother, my partner. We're working on a very exciting project with him. And for me, he's a disruptor as well. What he's been able to do, remember, he's also been a big part of this Tiwa Service success story, managed a couple of brands, and he's done very well in that lane. So he's a guy who comes in with passion. And one thing I like about him is this, he doesn't hide his own. He called me out publicly on several issues, and what I like is that it's always a conversation. And that's what the industry should be. We shouldn't be afraid to talk about things, no matter how uncomfortable they are. Because once they're out, we will all actually have a lot of freedom once we talk about the issue. So, over to you, sir. Let me take my lead.
All right, let's hear from our guest. Thank you, Bitcoin lawyer. See this Bitcoin lawyer, this Bitcoin lawyer that we are calling Audu. Bitcoin lawyer. Very soon you see that you cannot pay Audu with Naira. All right. Let's have Akinyemi on the show. Akinyemi, good evening. Come on the show. Hi,
hello.
How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man.
So, guys, Akinyemi in front of me today. I got to know Akinyemi when I got to know him fighting. When I had an artist on my record label that he was handling breed for, and after that we became friends, and I always called him for the few issues that are happening within the industry. And trust me, he's a very brilliant guy. He knows what he's doing. He knows his onions. So Akinyemi, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ubi, man. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for inviting me to join other heavyweights. I salute the work you're doing,
Thank you.
helping to sensitize and educate our people. It's something that we should all be committed to. And I like it that with the pandemic, we have a lot of downtime to really keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
I salute my Egba at the top as well. Audu my Corey. He's been like a trailblazer for the rest of us younger lawyers. I always tell people that I do what I do now because there was an Audu my Corey to pave the way. Also, salutes to Miss Udwak. The work she's done with our website has also been a very, very important resource material for myself and many other young lawyers. In fact, if you're a young lawyer and you're trying to be in the entertainment business, that's part of the things I recommend. She's done a lot of work over the years, and I believe that's a very, very good resource to have to apply, to use. So thanks again, Ubi, and yourself. You've been working in this space for, many years now, and exactly. And it is what you've done is very remarkable. I was in close quarters. I was able to observe the growth, and I'm really, really proud of what you've done so far.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. Once again, thanks for having me.
All right. We've been discussing system structures and partnerships. As a lawyer who has been in the Nigerian entertainment industry, worked for the artists and also worked for the record label, we want to have, because few people have been accusing us that we've not been able to balance the conversation. But I know for a fact that when you reach out to some people to have a conversation like this, they want to shy away because they don't trust the things that they're about to say. But for someone like you, you worked on both sides. You worked for the record label, you worked for the artist, and we know that you have something that there's something that I'm sure you have seen from the artist point and also from the record label point, and you also have to identify what the issue between artists and record label. So I'm going to go straight into a question. In terms of contracts between an artist, I'm sure you've looked at a couple. Do you think that so far labels are actually putting out the right? Do you think labels are actually putting out the right contracts to artists in Nigeria?
Well, that's a very, very big question. I think the labels, most of the time, they get a lawyer to advise them. And then the lawyers come up with different ideas. And the type of contract you get for a talent is influenced by a whole number of reasons. Like many variables come together to determine what kind of contract you're giving to a talent. Also, from my own practice, I always like that there is a conversation, to set the foundation for the type of relationship we want to have. So instead of just whipping out a contract, I believe the label owner or the executives of the label should have an idea of what they are trying to achieve with the talent. One thing is sure, the level of the talent, if it's a very, very fresh talent, it's going to be a different conversation or a different negotiation and a different contract as compared to somebody who has really done a lot of work, who has been able to on his own build a fan base and has shot some videos for himself or even might have released a lot of projects. So I think there are many, many factors to determine what kind of contract, how long the contract will be there for. Also, what are the commitments on both sides? What are the benefits? So, like I said, the conversation that will be the foundation for that negotiation or the contract will be one of the very, very strong determining factors. Also, the legal advice that the record label owner will be getting would also be a very, very important factor. And then I think also the expectations of both parties ultimately would be one. In fact, I think that should be the most important factor, so that's what they discuss during the negotiations. So for me, that's what I think. That's what I think. Those are the things that I think.
So when labels call you up or artists call you up to come and look into their contracts, right? When they have issues with their record labels or labels have issues with your artists, you always feel like most of these contracts were. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You always feel like most of these contracts were copy and paste contracts from the internet, and because of it's a copy and paste contract from the internet, it might not work with our systems in Nigeria.
Well, man, that is a very, very huge possibility because, trust me, we don't have too many lawyers within reach, or we have a growing number of lawyers.
Maybe these record label owners can't really sift through to retaining one of the very good ones. And then you find out the case where all types of lawyers want to be a part of entertainment and they all put themselves out there as being able to advise. So many people go on the internet and they shop for all manner of template. And at the end of the day, they use that as the starting point. I've seen many contracts that I understand that this can come from, an experienced lawyer, because the things you are asking of or the things you are touting that your clients would do at the end of the day, they would not be able to do it because it's a different terrain. And you have to take into consideration the fact that we're operating from a base. Although many people would argue that the music business is international, that, you know, we're selling products at a global scale on global distribution platforms, and the way the business is structured in Nigeria should not limit how you sell music or musical products. But again, our interactions here, most of them will be local. The enforcement of the contract, most of them will be local. In case of disputes, the dispute resolution would be centered in Nigeria, would be in Lagos most of the time. So I think we need homegrown structures. We need homegrown contracts to adequately take care of transactions that will be stemming from, you know, a label that is rooted in Nigeria and a talent that is rooted in Nigeria. Most of those international contracts, yes, most of those international contracts, if you are signing with Sony, Universal, Warner, most of them will situate the enforcement outside of Nigeria so that they can find protection under judicial platforms where they believe that enforcement or, you know, is timely. The enforcement in intellectual property rights, also when there are contractual disputes, they can easily just go, you know, they can set the venue for the dispute resolution in London or in New York or in LA, and in other well-structured judicial systems where you know that the two parties will respect
The contract.
the contract and the judicial system that might enforce it. So those are the things I
Okay.
think. But again, with the new number of experienced people, experienced lawyers coming in, Nigerian lawyers have better understanding to really understudy what is peculiar with our market, and then they would advise, and then they'll be able to draw up a document that is enforceable, that is also practical enough in the way it is set up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Akinyemi,
like you said,
let's talk.
adjournment.
Okay, let's talk about exit
Yeah, I'm
clauses,
listening.
right? So do you think every contract given to an artist in Nigeria by any record label should have buyout clauses?
Man, it depends. It depends where I am, you know, and it also depends on. It depends on where I am on the transaction. It also depends on the leverage of my clients. Whenever I'm representing the label, I always try as much as possible to do away with the exit clause, because I think it can be problematic. I think it can be very problematic because if in the first, second year, the talent blows up, then even if you've pumped in so much money and the investment is very significant and you're here to recoup, triggering that exit clause can destabilize. Sometimes the exit clause is couched in a way that the label might be forced to accept it. And when you are dealing with a talent who is now maybe A-list or B-list, it can be very problematic in the middle of, you know, moving forward with the project, trying to build a catalog for your label. They just trigger the exit clause, and it's not just about the money. Sometimes you want to build assets. You want to build albums upon albums. You want to be able to say, oh, at the end of 20 years, this is how many albums we have as a label. So if 2 years into every contract, the talent is just able to trigger that exit clause and maybe pay down your investment plus, you know, pay times 10 over. That means your business is back to reset. When you lose your talent, you have to go back to the drawing board to build a new talent. And you and I know that it is not cheap to build a talent into a household name. It is
No
not
easy.
cheap at all to build a brand, to build a fan base, and it is not a given. It is not guaranteed in any way. So if we allow the exit clause to just be, a weapon that, if we allow it to be a clause that can be weaponized by the artist at any time, then the investment of the label, the sustainability of the label is going to be threatened. So I, for one, sometimes when I'm representing a talent, I also argue for the exit clause. If I think that my talent is big enough, if I think my talent is big enough, like an A-list or a B-list, and it just needs funding, maybe for 2 projects, 1 album or 2, then I can always insist on an exit clause, getting out of the relationship once we deliver on what we are supposed to deliver on, or if there is any kind of inactivity, or if the label is, kind of stuck with no funding, no investment, then I want my talent to be able to walk out of that transaction.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So in the case where, before I bring on Ayoshonaiya, I have a question for you. Because in a case where the label gets stuck with money and they've already invested so much on the artist, let's say it's a 5-year contract, for example. They've invested 120 million and the contract is already 3 years gone. The artist has not made money. And then the label gets stuck in the 3rd year, end of the 3rd year of the contract. Label has not made money. Artist has not made money. Has not even his career has not even broken anywhere. The label has so far in the last 3 years met every obligations that is meant to be met from the label side, right? Now, and the label gets broke on the 3rd year because they cannot put in more money. So will you advise the artist to still to exit?
Man, they have to exit, because inactivity is not good for any talent. A
So what
talent
happens
needs
to
to
the
be
investment
consistent.
for the last 3 years?
Well, maybe the contract should have taken care of that. There are some contracts, they say, if you leave this contract during the term of if you leave this agreement during the term of the agreement, then you have to pay back the investment that has been made so far. But again, the artist, if there's no provision like that, what would be the case? Should the talent just, stay inactive and just in limbo, just watching like what's going to happen to my career? Or should they be able to, should they stay till it is the 5th year and they leave the contract? Because there are some contracts that there isn't any provision for if I don't make back the money. Also, we should also understand that during the term of the contract, you are producing assets that even after the term of the agreement, these assets will still keep making money. So even if I leave a label now as a talent and I give them 3 albums and maybe I didn't break even, or the investment that was made at that time when I was on the label, they didn't make back the investment. Trust me, if I go on to have a career like Davido or Wizkid or Techno or Two-Face Idibia or D'banj, remember, the 3 albums that I dropped with that label will continue to make money. Because when I go into new territories, people will go back to my my body of work. They'll go back to my discography, and then they will continue to stream, they'll continue to download, and those assets will continue to make money. So it is not enough that because the label is broke, then the artist should just, be stagnant. There can be an arrangement. You leave the label situation, you move on to something else, you keep working, you keep making money. If the contract is silent, I'm afraid there will be some kind of controversy around whether they should leave or not. But I always argue, anytime I'm representing a talent, that if the label has invested so much and they've built assets, I believe those assets will continue to make money. But if it doesn't say that there'll be the payment back, of the investment back, then I always argue, like, we can leave this relationship. We're not going to own up to owing any amount. If the contract is not saying that, that's usually the strategy that I use.
Okay.
Because the YouTube channel is still going to be making money. The songs on iTunes, Apple, Spotify, they'll keep making money. It might not be too much of, but I believe the catalog will, in a way, still be valuable to the label. That's
Okay.
the way I approach the question.
So my next question is a yes or no question, right? Or you can throw a little light on it. Do you think that record labels right now should give out money in terms of when they are investing in an artist, it should be like a loan setting rather than just investment?
Can you phrase that again?
Okay, because of the comment you made saying, because of your view on the when a record label goes broke or goes bankrupt because they cannot spend money anymore and they've spent a lot of money on the artist and the artist did not break even. Do you think that would you advise that going forward? Let's say we're putting up policy documents and say, okay, you advise that labels. Do you advise that labels should rather give out loans, right? It should be like advances that will be paid back with interest, or we should continue the way that the labels sponsor the artists. If they go broke, the artist exits and leaves the catalog. Now the catalog might not make money because there's no assurance that the artist will leave and go and make money somewhere else. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
so
Ubi, I don't think in any case we should condone people leaving contracts. But again, we can't also condone labels going broke. Trust me, it's a very tough business. People invest money and they lose money easily. I have a client that they spent 100 million on his career, and today, he still has that 100 million as a weight on his shoulder, like he's bogged down, he has to pay back. But I don't think it is an excuse to any label to say, oh, we are broke. And because we are broke, this artist can't, look for other opportunities. He has to be stuck in a way. I think also labels cannot give out loans. The work of a label primarily is to create an avenue to introduce stars, build up intellectual property, make money from the investment being made. So it's not a function of I'm signing a talent, then I'm giving like a loan. No, the label has to exploit the talent. It has to invest in building up the talent, artist development, has to advise how do we shape, the career of these talents, how do they release music, how do we promote music. It's beyond just giving money. Money solely on its own, I don't think is enough. The label brings expertise apart from the money. They bring ideas, they bring strategic partnerships. They try to build an infrastructure to, take an artist from nowhere to somewhere. So if you say you're just serving out loans, it will not work. But again, I think it is inexcusable for a record company to go insolvent, to say, oh, we don't have money, we are broke. That's just the sad, that's the harsh reality. That's the harsh reality.
Okay, Akinyemi, I want to tell you that we these conversations have finally led to a conference that's going to happen. We'll announce the dates that's going to happen, but I know it's in the next 2 weeks. You're going to be on the panel because these are conversations we need to argue about and make sure that we fine-tune the best things that's going to happen for the artists and also the record labels. Because if an artist is non-performing, right, and then it gets to a point where the label is non-performing too, they need to also be security for the record label. So I want to say thank you so much for coming on. We're going to have Ayoshonaiya next. So let's hear from Ayo. Thank you so much, Akin.
Thanks for having me. Salute to Ayoshonaiya.
All right, thanks, bro.
Thanks for inviting me, Obi. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right. So what's going on? Sorry, my internet is tripping. Let me see. Let me disconnect from the Wi-Fi. Oh, finally. Malga.
Hi, Ubi. Now you be
I'm very loyal,
our
sir.
How you doing?
Every day I want to understand how you hit 50 years old because you still look like a 34-year-old, young and getting it.
I'm actually 51, almost
51.
now.
You see?
Yes. So I'm good.
All right, welcome to the show, sir. Very well.
Thank you for having me.
All right. I know you followed this program from when we started, and you've heard the conversations that we've had so far on this show.
Most
definitely. Every time you and I are having a conversation, or I'm where you're having a conversation about our industry, I see how passionate you are about this industry. Like Aldo said, you and DJ Abbas were one of the first people to move this music outside Nigeria. And I want to ask you a few questions, right? And I'm going to start with this, and then we get into a few other questions. Should music business contract dispute go to court or should go to arbitration?
Well, as it is now, there's an option for it to go to arbitration. And then if you can't find your way there or resolve it, then you can still come to court. So both are available. I would suggest that, because I never like going to court. I'm a lawyer, but you almost never see me in court. Because I like to mediate, I like to negotiate, and I like to resolve before it gets to court, especially in Nigeria, where, I'm sorry to say, they don't understand entertainment business in the courts. So my answer to your question would be arbitration, because that's where you are best, hopefully best equipped by the mediator or somebody that's going to resolve it, instead of going to court in Nigeria where everything is like, oh yeah, they don't have time for entertainment conflicts in court in Nigeria. That's why some of the music business matters, legal matters that we have are so long running. You understand? Somebody was telling me the other day that Brimo and Chocolate City is still on. I'm like, on where? You understand? Or see how long and rough the one with Vector and YSG. You understand? So
Yeah.
when you take music business conflicts to court, you are in for a long, except it's something that is really straightforward, like copyright infringement. You know what I mean? Like it's just there, copyright infringement. You know, did you do it? You know it. You know, and then that one you can also negotiate and arbitrate for. So my answer to your question would be yes, arbitration.
Okay. There is this. There's been these issues. I know you've heard a lot. Haven't been in the industry this long.
I hear everything, Ubi.
Okay. What do you think is the best way? I know that there is a conference coming up, the Nigerian Music Business Conference.
That's the one you put on your website.
The one I put on my page. Yeah.
That should happen though. We need that to happen.
Yeah, and you know the good thing is going to happen live on Instagram, on Zoom, on YouTube. Let the world watch us and see how will I put it? Let's embarrass ourselves.
How we discuss our music. Yes.
Let's embarrass ourselves and let us find a way to understand that people are watching.
I like that.
It was until I started this. I started this Instagram live about our music industry that I found out that people are more interested in our music than we think.
Of course, now, of course.
But you see, they are just waiting for us and laughing at us every day and saying, "This one, you guys are." Then we're waiting. Election time, they'll call us to go and perform our shows, and they don't fix our industry.
Thank you.
So
yeah, because we always follow our hand. So
having heard so much, what do you think we can do in this industry to help ourselves? Daddy Shoki in the building, sir. I hear you, sir. Daddy Shoki in the building. Sir, my hands are up, sir. Mr. Easy is in the building. Well represented. Okay. What do you think we can do?
What was the question? Mm-hmm.
So with the issues we've had in our industry, how artists disrespect contracts, labels don't keep to contracts, they don't keep to agreements. What do you think is the easy suggestion that you've thought about in your head that can make these things go away?
Well, it won't go away, because if it goes away, how would lawyers eat? So we hope it doesn't go away. Now, there's two things for me. There's education, our education. And when I say our, I mean Nigerian or African. Our education and our attitude. Because even though there are laws, there are contracts, there are regulations, there are everything, our attitude still breaks it. Case in point, I was watching the other day when you had Jude on, Jude Okoye, and he says, look, if an artist comes to you and is saying, I want you to sign me, and you give them a contract that says, I am taking 95%, you take 5%, and I'm going to sign you for 20 years, the artist will say yes. You know why they will say yes? Because they know once they blow on stage, they turn around and they dabaru everything. That's our attitude. You understand? So the education is there, our attitude. The two must go in tandem, our education and our attitude. Now, first, education. Listening to Akinyemilaw just now, and you said him and also Uduak, they're very high on education. I'm very high on education as well. We have to first of all know what we're doing. You understand? Not necessarily how it's been done outside of Nigeria. How? Because our laws have to be peculiar to us. You get what I'm saying? There are some laws that you will make. We're used to breaking laws anyway. You understand? Or somebody will say, contract, which contract? Contract that, I will do this, I will do that, I'll get out of the contract. So our education is first. You have to educate people that this means this, that means that. This means how long, this means how much, this means, after you leave the contract, just like Akinyemi was saying, it's called retention period, because you're still going to make money off my old catalog. Masters mean this, your catalog means this, your publishing means this. So we have to first of all educate ourselves for everybody to know what this is. Like, in the contract, when you have definitions, you understand, they will say term means So basically, that's the education. Then our attitude. We have to get away from this Niger attitude where in Yoruba, they will say, Adagugweru, Edekadaru. You understand? Like, let's just fuck it up, and whoever stands the longest or stands the strongest or get the most public pity or support wins. That is our attitude. The attitude to, look, let me give you a brief history. I got into music by, not mistake, by chance. I was doing legal work for King Wasiu Ayinde Marshal before he invited me to be his manager. He just wanted me to be traveling around with them so that in case there's any legal issue, and I was the one that did all the work permits for them, to travel, to do a world tour 20 years ago, almost 21 years ago. And he just said, be our manager now. So I got into the music, even though I'd done music law and film law in films. I went to film school and also in law school. So anyway, so you can tell the education is there.
Yeah.
The education is there. Now, the attitude now. Me, I signed a contract with Wasiu Ayinde. And I remember one of my people then, not one of our security guards was saying like, this one that you are signing contract, what is the contract going to do if anything happens? And I couldn't answer that question. I said, well, everything is written down here and everything. The guy said, look at you, in Fuji Music. And it just occurred to me that this contract that I signed, not that it doesn't mean anything. I signed it, Wasiu signed it because he wanted me on. But really, if anything had happened, what will I do? I won't be able to do anything. In Fuji Music, back in those days, the way they settle their differences is whoever is last man standing. People go fight for inside studio. People will say, I signed on for you to do this album. Another artist will sign with another distributor, and two distributors will now meet in the studio and say, we have the rights to this song. And they'll say, which one? Then the thugs will start fighting with the studio engineer. And I'm not saying Fuji Music is crazy like that, but it's close. So I just realized that I signed a contract that if anything happened, there will be no recourse. Am I going to take K1, the biggest Fuji music artist in the world, to court? But you see what happened? I signed for 2 years, and then I went over and worked for him for 5 years. So that means for almost 3 years, while I was working for K1, I was out of contract. You know why? Because it's trust. It became a trust thing. There's contract, though, even though the contract expired, but there's also trust. So I had become his brother, I had become his bodyguard, I had become his accountant, I had become his advisor, I had become a lot more than a manager. I'm still his lawyer, you understand? So our attitude to the contracts is the laws are there. We can bring on 100 laws, community, this and that, foreclosure. We can do all that till we are blue in the face. If an artist or a label or whichever party wants to dissolve a contract in Nigeria, they will dissolve it. That is where our attitude is what we need to work on.
Okay, so this scares me, right? Yeah. I can hear you. Your last statement, that's what scares me. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Are you there? Hello?
Can you hear me? Glitching. I can't hear you. Okay, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
All right. So your last statement is what scares me. Your last statement scared me the most because can you hear me?
Do you want me to log out and log?
Okay, go up and I'll bring you back on.
Yes, let's do that.
All right, let's try and bring back Ayo. So I'm trying to bring back Ayoshonaiya. I think we lost Ayoshonaiya there. All right, let's bring back Ayo.
Oh, are we back? Sorry,
We're back.
I didn't know that we were back. So don't let me advertise. Don't let me advertise for anybody.
Enjoy your Glenn Felix. So your last statement about our attitude scared me, right? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Your last statement about our attitude scared me because you see,
but
if I'm an investor watching this
Instagram, it scares you because it's true.
Yeah.
You know.
If I'm an investor watching this Instagram live now, I'll start becoming very jittery about the industry.
They should be.
Let me tell you
Investors
something.
Should be. As
a record label, as a music company, as an artist manager and a management company, I'll tell you something I'll say this for free on this IG live. Since I started this Instagram live with the likes of Baba Keke to everyone that has been on this show, I'll tell you something, there's a lot of mistakes I have made that I am also trying to correct as a label.
And you are one of the top ones.
Yes.
See? So what about from the middle to the people that are just coming to the industry? There's lots of mistakes.
Exactly. So there's a lot of mistakes I've made.
On both sides.
On both sides that I'm trying to correct. Either how I have related with the artists, how our conversations have been, where I have reached the contract. This program right here, because of the conversations we've been having every day, has kind of shaping that thing for me. And I believe that if more artists are watching this conversation, if they are sincere, for sincerity of purpose, if they are really sincere about what they want to do, these conversations here, hearing from both sides, will help you understand that this guy is a human being and is an investor and he's bringing his money. Let me act right. If I act right, he will act right too. Yeah, you want to say something?
But let me tell you one thing. I was listening to Akinyemilaw. You asked a question about cut and paste. You see, I keep saying education on both sides. I won't mention names. There's this big label that wanted to sign an artist before, and she came to me with a contract. I know the big label, and I said, give me the contract, and then I read it. And I'll tell you, Ubi, for a big company like that, with the experience, they did a copy and paste contract. It was so copy and paste that they didn't even change the he in the contract to a she. That she is. She's a female. She's a female artist. They didn't even change the he to a she, and they didn't change the territory. And the in case there's any legal issues, the governing, the jurisdiction will be, it was still
the
in the US.
Laws.
Yeah, exactly. It was still in the US. And I was so disappointed, really. That's what I'm not going to mention. I was so disappointed. I said, okay, is this the contract that they gave you? Let me now write a bespoke contract for you. Tell me what's going on there. Tell me how long, how much, splits and stuff like that. And then I wrote a completely new contract. I said, look, you are going to give them a contract. You understand? It's not them giving you a contract anymore. You are going to give them a contract. You understand? And then she took the contract back to them. And then she called me. She said, Mr. Ayo, thank you. They signed it. I'm like, whoa. So is that how easy it is? You understand? The big label sent me a cut and paste contract. I rewrote it, sent it back to them, and they signed it. There's mistake on both parts.
Yeah.
You understand? Mistake in attitude. Going back to this attitude. You understand? Because it was almost like, so didn't they know what they were doing before? And they gave you a contract. So you have to be careful. You understand? Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
So I said to the artist, you have to be careful. Just follow the guidelines and the contract that I've written it, and you'll be fine. And hopefully, if they fulfill all their obligations as well, they would be fine. You understand? Next thing, when she came to pay me, she now asked me that there's 2 other artists that they are signing at that same time that, can I quickly do contracts for them? And I did. So I got 3 of them. They use my contract as the template for their own. And, everything is fine. I mean, you didn't hear anything about the artists and the label. So I guess everybody played their part and it was good. But that was an exception. I've also been in negotiations with I was on the part of the label, and the artist, I knew the artist. You understand? I knew the artist, and we're friends. And he brought his lawyer. Now, I must say one thing now before I go along. When people say get a lawyer, get a lawyer. Get an entertainment lawyer. If you can, get an entertainment lawyer with both experience and street credibility. You understand?
Yeah.
Get a lawyer with experience in entertainment and street credibility. Now, so back to the story. So I was on the side of the label, and then the artist, I knew the artist. It's one of my, is one of my friends. And he brought a lawyer who I think, hello, can you hear me?
Very well, I can hear you.
Okay. I keep checking because this internet, you never know.
Yeah.
So we got to a point in the contract where I said, okay, let's now go on to publishing. And the lawyer for the artist said, what is publishing? In fact, I'll tell you, Ubi, the artist was embarrassed for his lawyer, because the lawyer that he brought is asking what is publishing. He thought publishing was book publishing, like we publish, textbook, exercise book. You understand? And this is a lawyer sitting in a meeting, in a negotiation over contract that's worth millions of naira. You understand? And you don't know what publishing is. So if you're going to get a lawyer, get an entertainment lawyer. If you can, get an entertainment lawyer with experience in entertainment and street credibility, because street credibility matters a lot as well. So basically, go ahead. Okay,
I want to ask you a question before that question jumps out of my head.
Okay.
If an artist signs a copy and paste contract,
Yes.
right, and you
Yes.
can find where that contract was copied from, word for
Yes.
word,
Yes.
can the
does it invalidate
artist? Pardon?
Does it invalidate it?
Yeah, does it invalidate it? Can the artist fight it and say, okay, I can leave at the contract anytime? Can he invalidate the contract?
No. Because when you sign, when you give somebody a cut and paste, you're not copying that person's name, you're not copying that person's address. The only thing they change is their address. And once you sign an agreement, that has the label's name or whoever the other party's name, your address, you understand, and you sign it and date it and witness and attest to it, you are bound to the words of that contract, regardless if it's copy and paste before.
Okay, so I have actually
read contracts that I know was copied from another contract that I've written from someone else. That has happened to me in this Nigeria within like 3 years. I have written a couple of contracts that I know how I wrote it, that they saw that contract and they copied and pasted it, and that person is bringing it back to me. My own words, my own contract. So
okay, we're going to come back on. We've hit our 1 hour mark. We're going to come back on. So I'm going to end this live and come back on again. Then I'll bring you back on for us. I have like 3 questions for you before we take on the next person. All right, please. Thanks.
I'm here.